Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy back at it again. Welcome to another edition of the Rico Report, brought to you by you know who is the Buffalo Fanatics. What's good, my people? What's happening? Just want to give a shout out to everybody tuned in. Listen, I feel like that draft drained the heck out of you, man. 3 days of covering the draft with you people, and it was fantastic. So I want to show some love to everybody that tuned in. And we had quite the viewership, man. I got to give some love to everybody, man. You guys made this a fun weekend, like always do. So happy Tuesday to everybody. As you guys get into Smash That Like for your boy, you guys know that rolls. And we're going to get into it, man. So we're going to get into, let's talk about this draft. Listen, I know we talked about it enough, but let's kind of put a button in it. Let's put a button in it because there are some that really truly, after giving it a lot of thought, after giving it a lot of, some listening to analysis from those that are a lot closer to these players and know more about these players, I'm coming away a lot more. What's the best way I can put it? I'm coming away with a lot more optimism going into this season. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to big up Brandon Beane and make him, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to give him too much props just yet. Why? Because there's still a lot of things to materialize. The players still got to play. At the end of the day, players still have to play. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Did Brandon Beane draft the right players? Will they mesh? At first thought, I'm not going to lie to you, I was bugging just a tiny bit. Because I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure how I should be reacting to this. And what I love about the draft is it allows you to just be raw in the moment, let it fly. And later on, you can just say, you know what, I bugged out a little bit. And that's okay. Those that act that you got it all together, you already knew, bro, that's not raw emotions. You want true raw emotions. And that's what you want out of that, right? So we're going to get into that. We're going to draft. We're going to go through to each player. We're going to draft Beane's overall draft. Did he cook? Oh, low-key, did he cook? Did he do well in the draft? Did he do enough for you to say, you know what? That's where we're at. That's where I feel good about it. So, y'all, we're going to talk about it. We'll get through it. And I think that we'll come away somewhat on the same page in terms of what draft grade that Brandon Beane and his staff and his crew deserve. Maybe you had it as a C-. Maybe you had it as an F after day one. Maybe day two kind of brought you back up again. And day three, who knows? So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get into anything else, I want to give a big, big shout out to our friends, Buffalo Gift Emporium. If you guys aren't familiar with them, located in Williamsville and Tonawanda, Buffalo, New York. So these guys, friends of the show, they were our sponsors for the weekend. We can't thank them enough for, choosing us, right? To say, you know what, we see what you guys are doing, and we want to partner up with you guys. And I'll tell you this, man, it was a ball. It was a ball because I was able to, see some folks show love. I was in the chat say, you know what, let me go check out that website. And I like that. Even if I saw a handful, because those chat things were going so fast, the point is, you always want to show love to local. So Buffalo Gift Emporium, shout out to y'all. You guys have been great. And we look forward to obviously doing more business with you guys in the future. And just to give you guys a heads up, and I want to give some love to you guys. Folks, 41,000 people viewed in over the weekend to hang out with us. 41,000. We can't thank you guys enough. It's amazing. And the views are still pouring in, right? Going over the draft and getting some reactions, some overkill reactions. My man, post-podium, Amaris came through and hung out with us for a bit. Obviously, Bot was with us. My man, P Money, Thigh Doc, my man, Carl Jones. Listen, the outpouring love that you guys showed was cool. It was dope. So, that being said, much love to Buffalo Gift Emporium. And let's do this again, man. I want to be able to show love and pour some love into local business, and that's how we want to do things. So let's roll, folks. Let's get into it. The draft. Are we Are we happy about it? I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm not mad at this draft. I'm not mad at the draft. I have my grade for this draft, and I want you share me what your thoughts are. I think I have the poll is still up, so I'm gonna show the poll. And I want you guys to jump into the poll, man. So let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm hoping that you guys you're able to interact with the poll. So let me know, man. Was this an A minus to an A plus? Were you guys, you know what? I came away impressed with this draft. Or are you more like, man, that was in the B minus to the B plus? Or you weren't impressed at all. You felt that this was mediocre, C minus to a C plus. Where's your range? And obviously F to a D plus, where you absolutely hated this from pick 1 to pick 7th round, from our punter to our offensive line in the last round. So you guys let me know how you guys feel. I'm gonna put there we go. You know the polls. You guys are getting in there. Cool. So when you guys give me a chance, jump in the poll. I'm gonna periodically put it back up here and there. So jump in there. Let me know what your thoughts. So let's start off with Brandon Beane. How Brandon Beane set the table, and what we had to understand about what Brandon Beane's vision here. There is no more McDermott. So McDermott conversation should cease. There is no more. It's all about Brandon Beane and what he was going to do, because at the end of the day, it's his show. Him and alongside his partner, Joe Brady. So how did he set the table for us? Well, number one, you moved on from your second round pick by trading with the Chicago Bears to acquire DJ Moore. That already put Bills fans in an uproar. Some folks loved it. Some folks were like with the stick and poking the buffalo, saying, when are you going to make a move? Do something, Mr. Beane. Do something, Brandon. So Brandon does do something. He trades for a number 1 receiver, something that we have been missing, something that we've been asking for. All offseason last year was all about the WGR fiasco, where Brandon Beane kind of felt a little something, felt a little salty, and he decided to clap back a little bit. And fast forward to our situation now, he wasn't about to be clowned again. So he said, you know what, before I do anything, let me go ahead and give up my second round draft pick for DJ Moore. Now that the dust has settled, and knowing what you have at receiver, if you go to the second round at receiver, DJ Moore was better than every receiver that was in this draft. So to me, that furthers Brandon Beane's thinking. He looked at his big board. He saw, okay, what talent is here at receiver? Where would I be able to find a receiver of DJ Moore's caliber and go ahead and get that in the second round? Nowhere. Did he pay for it? Yes. You're going to pay. If you have been living under a rock, everything is expensive. No matter where you go, everything's expensive. For crying out loud, you ask for extra barbecue sauce at McDonald's, they're going to charge you 75 cents. Everything's going up. Inflation is going up. So it's going to cost you if you want premium receiver play. And DJ Moore is on the premium side. So Brandon Beane already got that out the way. He says, okay, that's locked out. I don't have to worry about it. I know I'm going to have to pay that brother. I'm going to, you know what, let me restructure a little bit and give him a little bonus and move things out. So that way his cap hit doesn't hit me as hard in this year. All right, bet. We got that part. Part of me hopes that this DJ Moore acquisition turns into a Kawhi Leonard type situation. You feel what I'm saying? If you know what I'm talking about, right? Sometimes it takes one piece to kind of mesh things together. Yes, Kawhi Leonard is one of the best in the game. At the time, was one of the best in the game. Still is. And it just took one player to kind of galvanize and put things together and make things mesh. Maybe that's exactly what we needed in the likes of DJ Moore. So Brandon Beane brings in DJ Moore. Now we have no second round pick. People are freaking out now because they feel we paid way too much for DJ Moore. He doesn't deserve that type of money. He's not one of the elites. How are we doing this? All that junk everybody was talking. I don't hear a lot of people talk about that junk right now, because if you saw what was available in the second round as for receiver and what we received, that's a damn good pickup for me. And I still feel that's a good pickup. So now Brandon Beane set it up by saying, okay, gone is my second round. Now I only have a first round pick and a slew of other picks down the line. Now what does he do? So now Brandon Beane, fast forward to the draft. He doesn't like what he's seeing in the first round. He trades out. Not once, not twice. He traded out 3 times. Traded 3 times to get out of Dodge. But in that, he acquired several picks to set himself up for day 2. which then had Bills fans excited. Day one was a bit of a dull. It's fine, but you understand that we knew if the talent wasn't there, you got to move out. And that's exactly what Brandon Beane did. Brandon Beane was like, I don't like what I see. I see Concepcion is gone. So at this point, what's the point? If we were going to stay in the first round, maybe that would have been the pick that we would have went with. It hasn't been said, but who knows? It could have been or maybe not. So now he's gone. So what does he do? He picks up second round pick. Boom. Moves things around. Now he's got second round pick. He's got some thirds. He's got some fourths. So now we're set up for success. Now what? Second day comes in. First pick off the board. TJ Parker. Now, this is where people started to say, TJ Parker, I didn't see that coming. Why were people upset about this pick? And I have to say, I was one. I wouldn't say I was upset. I was indifferent, but also didn't see it coming. That was not a name that was on my radar of all the mocks that I've done. TJ Parker was never a name. Now, also, I'm not well-versed in knowing every collegiate player from linebacker to defensive tackle, so on and so forth. You know most of your top 100s, right? And I know that he was in that top 100, but that was one that I never had on my radar. So why did it make people upset? It made people upset because they wanted Caden McDonald, right? The big defensive tackle that paints his face, all that stuff. That would have been a huge acquisition, but here's the deal. This is where you have to know who your defensive coordinator is. You got to know what his philosophies are going to be, and that potentially didn't align, and it's clear as day. It didn't align with what he's trying to do with this Buffalo Bills, because when you think traditional 3-4 defense, you think big nose, right in the middle, clog up the middle, and then now we can shore up that defense, right? Shore up defending the run. Well, Brandon Beane was like, that's not the direction we're going, people. Stop asking for that. It's not the direction we're going. We're going in a different direction. So in comes TJ Parker, the very good defensive end that can stand up, go in coverage if he needs to, defend the run, set the edge, and he's got great size, 260, about almost 6'4". So that's your prototypical defensive end size that you want. And he doesn't have the greatest burst, but he does everything solid, does everything well, and he's a brilliant young mind. So that is what's going to set the tone for this Jim Leonhard defense. Now, most folks that had issues with this were kind of like, well, hold on a second. Hold on just a second here. Because I look at TJ Parker and all I see is Greg Rousseau. Lengthy, not the greatest get off, solid in defending the run, and will probably get you, 6, 7, maybe 8 sacks. So where's that superstar that we need that can get around the bend and give us that pass rush that we so desperately have been asking for the last 2 to 3 years? Maybe, just maybe, in this scheme, TJ Parker is the perfect fit for this Jim Leonhard defense. And that's why I had to kind of settle down a little bit for myself personally to say maybe it's not so bad. So going with TJ Parker with the 35th pick, it wasn't a bad idea. Trading with Tennessee, obviously the 6'4", 263-pounder comes with violence. And that's what you want in a defense that is predicated on creating chaos. In this Jim Leonhard defense, you want someone that is violent as they come. So with TJ Parker coming into the fold, he comes with that. So he's got some power, he's got some violence in his hands, and it's not just a speed edge rusher. This guy's an overall good edge rusher. And who he was compared to, his comp, Hendrickson, the former Bengals defensive lineman. And I'll tell you this much, most folks, if we were able to land Henderson on this team, most folks would have been, I'm sold. But he ended up going to the Ravens and all that stuff. You already know the rest of it. But if we have that individual in TJ Parker, you can't go wrong. His time at Clemson, 41.5 tackles, tackles for loss, 21.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles in one season. Right? So in 3 seasons going into it, that's what he was that's what he was able to do. And he gave you 6 fumbles, forced fumbles in one season. So instinctive, knowing when to punch, knowing when to make a move, and knowing when to make a difference in a game. So maybe that's what they saw in the Clemson defensive end. So I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more and how they make Mr. TJ Parker fit 4 sacks in a single game versus Pittsburgh. Brandon Beane called him a 3-down player. That's what we're looking for. Not a guy that's in a rotation. All right, after one play, you're out of here. Okay, get to another. Bro, aren't we sick of this rotation-based system that we once had in McDermott? Nobody can get a true rhythm on trying to get onto the field and figure out, okay, what's this lineman doing? What's this tackle doing? There's no time for that. The minute you got a few plays, all right, you're off. So hopefully we get a little bit more continuity, a little more on the field, stay on the field, and try to figure life out. So that being said, Brandon Beane likes what he saw in Parker, and he says he's in every situation, every down type linebacker. And that's what Mr. Leonard wants. Maybe that's what Leonard said today. I don't care what you give me, but give me that type of player because that's what I want for my defense. And you know what? We got to live with it. We got to live with it because depth, in my opinion, was the theme in this draft for Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane just had about enough. I'm telling you right now, Brandon Beane had about enough. He's been looking at this team the last couple years, and he's been looking at this defense, more specifically, saying, I can't let the depth of this defense let my team down. And you're probably wondering what the hell I mean by that. Listen, go back and take a look. No pass rush. If you can't get no pass rush, quarterback can sit there in the pocket all day and survey and feel what he needs to feel and look where he needs to look. When guys like Christian Benford go down, when guys like Max Harrison go down, now you have backup players in, right? You saw what happened a couple years ago when Kyrie Elam had to take over for Christian Benford. Cooked barbecue chicken. That's exactly what you saw. You saw what happened when Max Harrison wasn't able to play. Then we had liabilities, right? Darnell Savage doesn't play freaking all year. He gets into the game, gives us a big old play. The defensive backfield and the defense is always what usually gets us in the bind and puts Josh in a situation where he's got to be the hero. He's got to put on the cape yet again and get stuff done. So Brandon Beane just got sick of it. I'm not doing it. So I'm going to start this draft off by getting myself a 3-down lineman that could do it all. And that's exactly what he got out of the Clemson product in TJ Parker. So were there other guys that you could have grabbed? Yes. Cassius Howell was there. That was one of my guys that I was like, yo, if we can get Cassius Howell, man, that'd be dope because I love what I saw out of Cassius Howell. He went to Cincinnati. But we got ourselves a good player. And the more that I start hearing people talk about the addition of TJ Parker, and then I saw the type of stand-up dude that he is. He went into a press conference. Before the press conference, he's shaking everybody's hand. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? That's a class act. Those are the type of people that you want in your building. Those are the type of people that you want to play next to. So TJ Parker comes in and is really and does great things. And here's the best thing about this. Greg Rousseau now has someone similar to the skill set that he brings, and they can feed off of one another. And those are the things that you want to be able to see on field. Greg Rousseau, Javon Solomon, everybody's going to be learning and poaching from one another. That's what you like to see. Now, some might question, did Beane reach? Did he need to go for a Parker? Did he? You know what? In my opinion, when it's all said and done and you saw what was available and how this draft was going, you needed to get your pick right then and there. And that's what he felt. He felt good about that pick. So he brought TJ Parker to the Bills with a 35th pick. And now the Bills are on the board and ready to go. So TJ Parker becomes the first pick. I wasn't thrilled about the pick at first because I didn't know too much about this brother, right? Started doing my research and I was like, you know what? Sometimes we just need to stand back and let coach do what he needs to do. Because when he drafted the likes of when he drafted, Khalil Shakir, I was like, who the heck is Khalil Shakir? I remember when he drafted Terrell Bernard in the 3rd round out of Baylor. I was like, who that? Who that? So, and then we ended up liking Terrell Bernard. So sometimes you got to take a step back a little bit, do a little more research, soak it all in, and see how the chips fall. So to me, I don't mind that the grade and taking on TJ Parker for the Bills. I think it was a good move for the Bills. I think it was smart. And now you have yourself a future, and you have someone that will develop into the pass rushers that you need him to be in this Leonard defense. Leonard's defense is already chaotic enough. So all these moving pieces are going to materialize in the Bills doing big things. Will they be like the Denver Broncos the last couple of years of being one of the best teams in getting after the quarterback? Who knows? But I'll tell you this. When we had Dave Wanstead and I know Pierre gave me this stat, so forgive me if I don't have it all down. When Dave Wanstead was the defensive coordinator for the Bills, and I think soon after, I think we brought in Mike Pettin, and then it was Jimmy Schwartz afterwards. We went from being not a great defense to all of a sudden was a coach with a new philosophy. The roster didn't change too much, and we became one of the better defenses in the game under Mike Pettin. And then Jim Schwartz came in, and obviously we added some more pieces, and you saw what kind of defense we brought. Marcel Darius, we had Kyle Williams, Jerry Hughes, Mario Williams. I mean, that was a tough line. But all it takes sometimes is the right mindset, and away we go. Side note, I don't know if you guys saw Tyler Dunn had there was an article put out, and I guess he was I don't recall who he was interviewing or who he had the soundbite from, but when it came to, I think the question was, when it comes to what made calling plays against a McDermott style defense a challenge, or what made it easy for you? And the answer is alarming, to be honest with you. The fact that you can sit there and say, bro, the guy is predictable. We know what's coming, and we could do whatever we want. Golly, when I'm hearing this, that's not what I'm trying to hear from my coach, man. And this is why I understand that people get absolutely bothered with Brandon Beane and get bothered with Sean McDermott, because it's the same old mess, same old conservative play, same old DBs backing up, all of that. So that's why this next pick is maybe why this Brandon Beane decided to say, I'm going in this direction. I need to be a little bit more aggressive in this. And this is where this second pick, I certainly wasn't a big fan of. You guys saw my reaction when it did happen. And that was the number 62 pick, Mr. Davison Igbinosun, the cornerback out of Ohio State. 6'2", 210. They haven't listed at $195, but I've seen it at 210. 32.5-inch arms. So he runs a 4.45 40, big physical press corner, right? 27 pass breakups in his career, 194 tackles, 4 interceptions. Started 53 of 56 games at Ohio State. So he's got the games under his belt. Here's the deal. When we drafted this brother, I was like, damn, we drafted him with the 62nd pick. We traded up for that. I was losing my mind. Most folks were saying, boy, why are you losing your mind over a 5th or a 6th round draft pick that we gave up? Who cares? We moved up 4 spots. Whoop-dee-doo. At the time and at the moment, I didn't like it. I felt that there potentially could have been positions that we could have settled for or gotten that I think would have set us up properly, right? Like I was looking at, I think at the time, I believe I can't recall, but I think Rodriguez was probably still there. And we decided to say, nah, we good, bro. We're going to bypass that. I know Miami picked them, but I just don't know exactly where. But I know it was around that range where I was like, we had a chance to take on Rodriguez, and Rodriguez wasn't there. So, damn, I'm like, all right, so we picked up Igbinosun. Who that? Right? I'm trying to, and I know big-time program, big-time school. And then I'm like, 2024, 16 penalties. He had to wear what? He had to wear gloves so he doesn't have to grab? Are you kidding me? It was a Kyer 2.0. So that's all that's running through my mind. We got a damn Kyer 2.0. So you got Brandon Beane messing around with us, not taking the plays that we want him to take. Meanwhile, we could have had the big defensive tackle in Caden McDonald, and we said, nah, we good. We're going to take TJ Parker, and we're going to follow that up with IGB. Are you kidding me? 16 penalties in 1 year, led the whole nation. Bro, that's where I'm like, all right, this is a head scratcher for me. I don't know about you guys, but was it a head scratcher for you guys as well when you saw that? You guys let me know. Was it a head scratcher? By the way, the poll is up. What grade are you giving it right now? I've got a couple people that have voted on there. Go ahead and try to get in there and vote, and we'll catch it. We'll make you catch on to that. So let me keep rolling here. Let me scroll that over here. All right, let's keep rolling here. So IGB, all I'm seeing is 16 penalties, led the nation, can't, you know what I'm saying? He's physical. I was like, okay, let me look this up. I'm looking it up. I go to the Senior Bowl. That boy getting torched one-on-ones. I was like, man, that's who we took. I was like, you can't go by that. So you got to actually go by the analysis that people see. Then you got to watch the film for yourself. I'm watching the film. I was like, all right, I get it. But then I was like, but why? But why? I need to understand the reasoning. So I'm like, what's Brandon Beane's thinking behind this? So while we were live going on and chatting this, we came to the conclusion. This is And it was sad to say, but my man Kevin was like, Brandon Beane's drafting for depth. That's what it feels like. Because is TJ Parker really going to get on the field like that? How do you do that? You're paying a boatload of money to Greg Rousseau. You're paying a boatload of money to Bradley Chubb. You got to have these guys on the field. So your first round draft pick is going to be what, 40% of the snaps, give or take, maybe less. So it's like, don't you want to draft someone that immediately comes to your team and makes a difference and starts right away? Because that's where Caden McDonald would have been. He would have been on the field ASAP. But we didn't go that route. Jacob Rodriguez, could have been the starter right off the rip. We didn't go that route. So we went with TJ Parker, an edge player. But the more you think about it, the more, okay, so we need that. So now I'm sitting here looking at IGB, 16 penalties. I was like, okay, let me watch the film. Then I hear the following year, he cut that down to 5 penalties. I was like, okay. So he's understanding it. But then it made me rack my brain yet again. Hold on. You're going to draft a guy that has 16 penalties 1 year, right? I get that he's aggressive, a little too aggressive, you ask me, with those 16 penalties. And now you want to bring him to the NFL where he's going up against the best of the best of the best. And that's the guy you drafted in the second round. I was like, golly, that had me feeling some type of way. Now, am I justified to feel some type of way? No, because you got to let these guys play on the field. So to me, when IGB came onto the scene, when I'm saying, okay, so he got 27 pass breakups, so he's around the football. Let me watch a little bit more film. And the more film I'm watching, the more I'm like, okay, I don't mind it. And the more I'm watching this, the more I'm like, wait a minute, who do we have as depth at corner on this Bills team? Have you seen what we're working with, folks? It ain't good. It ain't good. And I'll tell you right now, you've seen this multiple times where said player comes in the game, i.e. Dane Jackson, milk check, pretty much. You go right at the new corner. And that's exactly what the Denver Broncos did. They just waited. They don't got the depth. They don't have the depth. So the minute that one bum comes on the field, we're going to light him in the sky. And that's exactly what took place with the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. They saw the weakness and they pounced on it. Darnell Savage, that doesn't play all damn year. You get him in the field, they turn that boy around like the hokey pokey, and boom, touchdown, up. Bro, so Brandon Beane sitting here going, golly, I will be damned if I allow this to be another opportunity for the defense to take a championship run away from a top 10 offense. Let's cut it out. He's done with it. So now, if I'm going to make something happen, what I'm going to do is make sure that I have the depth. So if Christian Benford does go down, I'm not sitting here in a liability where I have to now say, DJ Devonshire, come on up, right? I got to go to the practice squad. Or I got to go bring back Dean Marlowe. Brandon Beane's sick of it. If I'm sick of it, you know damn well he's sick of it. So in comes Mr. IG. So aggressive. And here's the biggest part that I look at this, right? Aggressive, can get down the field with a 4.45 speed, but you got to go up against the guys like the T. Higgins of the world, right? The Drake Londons of the world. You saw what Drake London did to us. Drake London was a one-man wrecking crew. This guy just walked up and down the field, did what he needed to do. We didn't have the pass rush. We couldn't cover the man. The guy did whatever the heck he wanted to do with Michael Penix throwing him the football. I'm sick. I was sick when we lost that game to Atlanta. Ain't no business. So now you're like, okay, big on big. You're not gonna bully me. Mike Evans goes to San Fran, right? So you gotta have corners that can match up with these big boys, because we've had our fair share of getting out-leaped and out-hustled. Just go ask the Bills' defensive backfield, DeAndre Hopkins. He's done it multiple times. Heck, he did it in the first game to us right against Christian Benford. One-hander back in the end zone. So you need a guy that can stick. You need a guy that could get to it. And you need a guy like IGB. Now, I don't know what he's going to bring to the table. I hope that all those flags and all those holdings are behind him and we have ourselves something, because depth at the end of the day is what we need, because injuries happen. We seem to be, it just feels like we're just a terribly unlucky team. other than the 49ers. So the 49ers are damn unlucky. But I feel like it's always the Bills with some kind of stupid injury at the worst time. And now we got to trot out God knows who. So this is where IGB coming in is huge. I love what I'm seeing. And I'll tell you this, he had a quote that, I mean, I'm not mad at it. And he said something to the nature of, I'll choose me versus anybody, or something to that nature, right? If it's gonna be, he likes that matchup, meaning he's not gonna shy away from it. Who am I lining up against? Let's roll. I'm 6'2", I got 32.5-inch arms. You know what I'm saying? Length of arms. Let's roll. Let me stab you at the line. Let me jam you at the line. Now I'm gonna make it very difficult for your quarterback to get into a rhythm. So this is where a guy like IGB comes in. And let's keep it real. Likely he's going to play a lot. So you can see the theme why I mean that Brandon Beane set himself up for this, right? D. Alford, you move on from Taron Johnson, because Taron Johnson will start to, show a little decline. Maybe, hopefully I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? And he goes to the Raiders and he does great things with the Raiders. But the last couple of years, Taron Johnson hasn't been the same. So I think it was identified and they said, yeah, you got to go. So he gets traded. So in comes D. Alford, known for his one-on-ones, known to be a good inside interior route, can play outside, can play inside. You need that ability. So Brandon Beane made it very clear, I will not be a team that has so many damn holes to fill. And I'm going to my practice squad on a weekly basis trying to figure out who the heck I'm going to put up there. No way, no how. And that's exactly what he did by handling his business, by going after the likes of IGB, Ig Benosin, to the Bills with the second-round pick. All right? So that being said, do I like that pick? Did I like that pick? No. That's the one pick that had me going, all right, man, I get it. I see what you're doing with this, but I'm not a fan of it. But you gotta understand that these guys know what they're doing. You gotta just trust that coach knows exactly what he's doing with that. So let's move on to the next pick. This is another one that had everybody saying, what? Are you kidding me? Until you really start realizing maybe it wasn't a bad pick. So the Bills now move to their third pick of the draft in the fourth round. At 102, they draft Jude Barry, the offensive tackle / offensive guard, most likely going to play left, right? Out of Boston College. We had a trade with the Vegas. I think they moved up one spot for us to get that pick. So we took Jude Barry. What do you need to know about Jude Barry? 6'5", 314 pounds, didn't allow a sack in 307 pass blocking snaps in 2025. Okay? Zero. That's zero. No sacks. I like that. I'm already on board when I see these type of things, right? So he's trustworthy. Let's keep it rolling. Elite athleticism for a big man. Top vertical and broad jump among all offensive tackles at the combine. Left tackle and a little bit of right tackle experience. Not too much, just a tiny little bit. And he's willing to play guard. You know how every player says that. Wherever you guys need me to play. If you want me to place hold, I'll place hold. But the point is, versatility is going to be key here. Not only can he play some tackle, he's willing to go inside. You know where there's a huge competition going on right now. It's going to be at the left guard spot. Alec Anderson is going to be competing. Obviously, Jude Bowery is going to be competing. You're going to go over to Cedric Van Pancrasier. Then you have Corbett. That's going to be competing. So there's a big competition going on at left guard. Who takes that one? We're going to find out. That's why we have camp. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So Jude Bowery coming through at left tackle, comes in with some experience at right tackle, so he can swing if you need him to. And the fact that we didn't bring back Ryan Vandermark tells you, bro, we're good. We're gonna find your replacement, and we're gonna get younger, and we're gonna get better. And I mean, it's only $3 million, but Beane was like, "Nah, I'm good. B. We don't need to do all that." So when Jude Bowery now comes to the team, then you're probably looking like, why did the Bills draft left tackle? Until you look at the depth that the Bills were presenting, ladies and gentlemen, had you seen what the Bills are presenting on that squad, you'd understand the same thing as well. You'd absolutely understand why the Bills are in that situation. Because if you look at that roster and you look at that depth chart, that roster of tackles does not look good. Let me recite some off just so you understand. If Deion Dawkins or Spencer Brown were to go down, here's who's coming up: Chris Lund, Tylen Grable, Travis Clayton. those are your tackles, right? I'm not saying that they can't play. All I'm saying is that if we do go down, if one of those guys on the right or the left go down, you're worried for Josh. And you don't want your franchise quarterback having to worry about his right side or his blind side. You want those two things taken care of. And that's why Deion Dawkins is a valuable piece for this team, and so is Spencer Brown. Imagine Tyler Grable having to step in. And I'm not disrespecting Tyler Grable. I'm just saying that's not ideal. That's not what you're looking to get. So Jude Bowery coming through gives you that flexibility. One guy goes down, Jude Bowery can step in and say, okay, I got you. All right. I've done this before. I played a little bit of right tackle. It's not foreign to me. My right position is at left tackle. It's already covered. You need me inside? I got you on the inside. Willing to move, and that's huge. So big Bills, the Bills, like I said, the theme seemed to have been, I will not be duped or lose this season because one of my big pieces goes down and I don't have someone to back him up. And that's where that Jude Bowery's pick wasn't as bad as I thought. Initially, I was like, golly, what is Beane doing? Because everybody was with the pitchforks ready to get Beane. Beane was just number one enemy, public enemy number one, until people start to slow down and realize, wait a minute, if you see what we have at that tackle position, you would have done the same damn thing. And Beane did not want to wait. So he went and grabbed Mr. Jude Bowery out of Boston College, 6'5", 314 pounds, and that's who we will have protecting Josh, potentially on his blind side, or maybe a little bit on the right side. So big shout out to Beane. Beane didn't want to play around. He wanted to get a future starter or a developmental piece and swing on that piece, and that he did. I think he got that piece that he wanted. So let's roll. All right. So now we're going into day 3. Day 3 is up. Now we're like, bro, I don't have a damn clue where Beane is going. Where is Beane going? Everybody was wondering where Beane was going. Where are you going, bro? So round 4, with the 125th pick, Skylar Bell out of UConn's the pick. Now everybody's hype. Now Bill's Twitter is a buzz. Everybody's like, finally, Brandon Beane started to put a little hair on his chest and say, I'm going to make a pick for this team. Here's what this does for the Bills offense now. Now you have a receiver. I have people telling me, oh, this is the next Jamar Chase. This is the next this. This is the next that. All I see when I see that brother play is a Stephon Diggs. Not because they're similar in the way they play, but the fact that he's not super blazing fast. He's not average all the way around. Bro, he's a good route runner, yak guy, and he can get downfield, and he's got 10-inch hands. That brother's catching everything. The guy had over 100 catches, had over 1,200 yards, had 13 touchdowns, and only 4 drops all year round. Brandon Beane picked him up in the 4th. First of all, how in the heck did the NFL allow that to happen? The Biletnikoff Award goes to the best receiver in the game, Mekhi Lemon. And you had, who was the other person? You had Mekhi Lemon and you had Jeremiah Smith. Those were the 2 that were above Skylar Bell. And Skylar Bell gets dropped to the 4th? Are you kidding me? Why? I don't care. The fact is, we got ourselves a receiver that can play. 13 touchdowns. This guy was the go-to guy. Almost 6 receptions a game. The only game that he didn't have 6 receptions, I think he had 4 receptions for 130 yards. They say, yo, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. He's a big-time player. So hopefully, Brady knows how to utilize this big-time player. Because all this is all fine and dandy, but if you don't use the brother and you don't know how to use him, he becomes useless to the team and becomes useless to Josh. So hopefully, Josh and Skylar and the rest of this receiving crew can build some chemistry and really become potent. But that is a huge pick, and we didn't have to move up and move down. We sat right where we needed to be, and we picked them with the first pick in the 4th. Listen, that's huge. But here's why this was able to work. Here's why this was able to happen. Beane made a slew of trades that allowed him to pick at the top of each round. You saw how he did it. He was picking at the top of the 3rd, picking at the top of the 4th, and picking at the top of the 5th. And then he had a couple double back-to-back picks in the 4th and the 5th. But he was picking at the top because he was able to massage and move things around and get in this position. So we want to poo-poo on Brandon Beane for quite a few things, But if you saw the way he moved around and he's moving and shaking and was able to get to the top of these rounds, bro, you got to give him some credit. And big credit to Brandon Beane because he was able to bring in the 6'1" receiver out of UConn that used to play with Wisconsin, which has the tie to you-know-who, Jim Leonard. So Jim's like, yo, I know this player. You better go get that player because he was giving me fits in practice, so go ahead and get him. So there's that connection between Skylar Bell and the Bills and Jim Leonard. That was a big pick for Brandon Beane. 4 drops all year with 101 targets. Are you kidding me? Unfreaking believable. So Brandon Beane taking the Bronx, New York kid and bringing him to Buffalo. He's somewhat kind of home a little bit. Those are the things you want to see. You get him on the field, he will demand respect. He will demand respect. They will know who that brother is. And if Brandon Beane, Joe Brady are in alignment, like they say they are, you will try to get that brother on the field, the ball in his hand as much as possible. Now it just opens up everything for everyone else. Oh, by the way, did I forget to tell you? We got DJ Moore. Josh Palmer should be coming in his own. They're saying Keon is going to have a career year. So they're confident in what this offensive rooms look like. This could be a very dangerous offense. And that's why Brandon Beane was like, bro, I know what this offense is capable of. I need the defense. And I got to make sure because it's on my dime. It's my responsibility. I don't have Sean McDermott. Chiming in and saying this is what he needs and this is my defense. No, this is my team now, Brandon Beane is saying. I'm the president. I'm the El Presidente. And I'm the GM, bro. So I'm calling the shots. I'm making things happen. And it seems like everybody's happy with it. Big shout out to Brandon Beane picking up and juicing up third day. And I'll tell you right now, man, the third day was when Brandon cooked the most because not only did he kill it with Skylar Bell, he doubles up and goes and grabs Caleb Elam's-Orr, linebacker out of TCU, right back to back, right after the pick of Skylar Bell. Now, if you thought everybody was excited about Skylar Bell, now they're just as excited about Elam's-Orr. And I tell you right now, there's a lot of chatter going on that Elam's-Orr could have a lot of playing time going into this year. This might be one of those guys that have a great impact because you see the depth that we have at linebacker. Joe Andreessen, Jimmy Charlo, and the rest is kind of hazy to me. So it goes to tell you what are we working with at linebacker? Obviously, you got Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard. Do we bring back Shaq Thompson? Do you dare bring back Matt Milano? To me, I don't think Matt Milano comes back because you got to pay that brother, and he's not going to come back for you to get peanuts. That's disrespectful to him. I don't think Brandon Beane's going to want to do that. Shaq Thompson, on the other hand, is a little older. You don't want to disrespect him either. There's vet minimums for that. Could Shaq Thompson end up coming back? And if he does come back, is there any point for him to come back? You just brought Elam-Orr. You got Andreessen, which I don't mind Andreessen whatsoever. You have Dorian Williams. You want to see what Dorian Williams can do. You remember when Matt Milano went out, when Matt Milano got hurt and Dorian Williams had to take over, fam, he had over 100 tackles. And when Matt Milano came back, the tackles came down. He was getting into a groove. So I still believe in Dorian Williams. And I think the coaching staff believes in Dorian Williams. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out when and if we keep the linebacker room the way it is now, or we bring in Shaq Thompson, because that just creates competition. And if Shaq Thompson makes it, somebody's got to go. But he's also going to have to know his role, right? We have a rookie off-ball linebacker, right? We know that you can play in the middle. We've seen Bernard have his bumps and bruises along the way. So do you bring in the older Shaq Thompson? So that's something that Brandon Beane is going to have to mull over and find out how much it's going to cost me. Does it make sense to do that? Does it stunt the growth of my younger players that I'm trying to get up there? Those are all the things that matter. But here's something else that matters. You have a small window of Josh Allen in his prime. He's got another 5-6 years in his prime. You want to try to do something now. So why not bring in a guy that can do something now? Maybe Shaq Thompson is that guy. So this is where they have to figure things out. So Elam's-Orr, the TCU linebacker, coming in and had a pretty damn good I'm losing my words here, combine, right? Ran a 4.47 40-inch vertical. Dude is a damn athlete. And you see him play. He plays with violence. He plays with speed. And he plays to take your block off, kind of like Dorian Williams. So we're building a aggressive defense that's going to get after your behind. And this is where I think that Wisconsin, the old Wisconsin coach, and Jimmy Leonard, now the defensive coordinator, is looking for. That's why we didn't go with a big, huge nose tackle. Go look at the roster, and I had to be told to go look at Denver's roster. You ain't got no 345-pound middle defensive tackle. Bro, everybody's in that 290, 300 range. That's it, right? So the Bills are sitting right there in that mold. So we will see a lot of flying pieces, moving pieces, and I think that we might have one of those defenses this year that really turn heads. And maybe this is all we needed. Ain't that a shame? McDermott had 9 years to put something together, and Jimmy Leonard could come in and change that thing right off in 1 week, in 1 year. That'll be fun. So TCU linebacker Elon Orrs led TCU both in tackles and for loss in 2025. Made the first big All-12, first team All-12, can play on the edge or in the box. So he's versatile in that regards. So that's where Shaq Thompson comes in. Do you bring Shaq Thompson back or do you not? Do you just let him go find value somewhere else? Or do we just keep him in the back and say, oh, man, we got an injury. You ready to come play? Who knows how that's going to shake out? We just hope that there aren't any injuries. So Beane goes back-to-back 125 and 126 and gets two potential contributors right off the rip in the third day. Bro, this is where the stock starts to go up for Beane. Beane's one of those guys. He had us in the first half. I mean, I thought I was down in the first half. In the second half, Beane came through and was like, yo, I ain't done. This is where I cook. I cook in the late rounds, in the middle rounds. Let me cook. Hold up. Let me cook. And that's exactly what he did. Those back-to-back picks. Elon Orr and Caleb Schuyler coming through the Buffalo on the day, bro. You got yourself something. You got yourself something, Brandon Beane. You did it. So day 3 kicked off with a bang. He doesn't stop there. I think one of the steals of the draft is this next pick that the Bills came through and made. And that is pick 6, round 5, 167, Jalen Kilgore, the safety out of South Carolina. Acquired via trade the Houston Texans. Thank you, Houston. And Houston's thanking us because they got Caden McDonald. But let's keep it rolling. 3-year starter in the SEC, 178 tackles, 8 interceptions, 21 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries. Team captain. Let me tell you a story about this team captain that he got. His team made him the honorary permanent team captain. You ain't going nowhere. So that tells you the type of character that this brother is. They love this guy, and they say, yo, you're the team captain, period. That was by his teammates. Huge for Jalen Kilgore. And of those 21 pass breakups and those 8 interceptions, he had 5 of them just last year in 2024. A couple years ago, excuse me. So that alone led the entire SEC in that season. Lance Zierlein, you guys already know who Lance Zierlein is. Lance Zierlein had him graded as a second-round grade. Second-round grade. And we got that brother in the 5th? Kudos to Brandon Beane. This is what I'm saying, man. Brandon Beane started cooking, man. And here's the thing. If you've looked at the RAS scores, for the Bills and what they've been averaging, and bro, we were a damn athletic drafted class this draft. Alone, if you look at Jalen Kilgore, I'm going to share my screen real quick. If you look at Jalen Kilgore and what he's bringing to the table, look at this. Look at this, folks. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see it properly. This brother graded a 9.6. Okay? So he's in the 4th percentile. He was in the 4th percentile of strong safeties graded since 1987. He can play the nickel. He can play the big nickel. And he can play a box safety. He primarily plays inside. He's like 7%. I think it was a stat, 71% that he'll play inside in the nickel position inside the box. But you can move him anywhere. He's got range. He's got the speed. Ran a 4.40. The boy can run. He's got size, and he's a willing tackler. and you got that in the 5th with a 167th pick. This is what I mean, man. Beane had us like, God, man, Beane, what you doing? And all of a sudden, Beane woke up and was like, bro, I'm right here. Watch me cook. Watch me cook. And, bro, I'm telling you right now, it ain't looking so bad. It ain't looking so bad, man. So this is what I'm talking about. The picks here in the end, I think this is where Beane, we've celebrated Beane for this. The problem is, Beane has had trouble finding that first round draft pick. Every time we mention him in first round draft picks is wishy-washy, but we never question what he does in the middle rounds, because that's where he does his best work, right into the middle rounds. So I'm forward to seeing what this does. So Kilgore coming onto the squad, where does he fit? You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you got Geno Stone, you got DeMar Hamlin that got signed. So I mean, shoot, Hamlin might have to be looking up over his shoulder and finding out what's up, because Kilgore in the building. So if he was slated to be a second round, I mean, they had some people had him at a second round draft grade, and we got him in the 5th. That might be the steal of this draft and for this team. But think about it. Skylar Bell, some might say that was a steal. Some might say, yo, Elam's Orr, you got him in the 4th? Bro, okay, nice. Kilgore in the 5th? He's one of the better safeties in this game? Shoot, I'll take that all day, man. Kilgore to the Bills, big move. And then this is one that had me scratching my head a little bit. But this pick here kind of has me somewhat excited at the same time. The Bills, with their seventh pick, they drafted round 5, pick 181, Zane Durant, the defensive tackle out of Penn State. Most Bills fans were like, sweet, we finally got ourselves a defensive tackle. Then you find out he's 6'1", 290 pounds, undersized, but explosive as ever and athletic. Ran a 4.6 40, something of that nature, at 290 pounds, ran a 4.6 40. Folks, in 54 games at Penn State, 22 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, and was a team captain out there. So this guy, according to Dane Brugler from The Athletic, says wins with play strength and violence in the hands. I was watching some film on this brother. Bro, his first step is absolutely nasty. His first step is nasty. You let him beat you off the block and you give him some technique, he will be nasty. And in this defense that doesn't require to have a huge defensive defensive tackle, I'm intrigued to see what happens with this guy. So now, who should be worried about this addition of Zane Durant? Well, I'll tell you right now, Dwayne Carter. Dwayne Carter better be looking at this going, boy, I know I got hurt last year. I'm somewhat of an afterthought. I thought he was probably going to get released to begin with. He got hurt. I think he tore his Achilles. But Zane Durant might be one of those situations where this might be the pick, man. And that might be something that you got to look forward to. Now, I know it's late in the 5th round, 181st. But I want to see what this guy can do, because when you see stuff like this, 22 tackles for loss, 10 sacks in 2025, bro, I want to see a little bit more, right? So he projects as a 3 tech alongside Ed Oliver. So that'll be interesting. And Deion Walker. Bills needed the interior depth. They got it. Not in the size we anticipated, but at least we got a little more athletic. And if we're trying after this quarterback in this Jim Leonard defense, these are the type of players that they need. So this 3-4 defense might fit perfectly for somebody that's as athletic as possible, and that is Zane Durant. So did Beane finally fix that defensive tackle pipeline that he's been looking for? We're going to soon find out. So I'll let you know my grade is coming up shortly. And then the Bills kind of tailed off with one of the underrated picks of this draft as well. And that was round 7, 220, Tariano Pride Jr. out of Missouri. I don't know too much about this guy. I'm still doing some research on him. He's a Clemson transfer, acquired via trade. Okay. And ran a 4.3 40. Okay. This corner ran a 4.3 40. Fastest 40 time of any player at the entire 26 NFL draft. Hear me out. Not only did the Bills get the fastest player, okay, the fastest player in the draft this year, they got the fastest player in the draft last year with Max Hairston. So we got two of the fastest players in back-to-back drafts. Bro, Brandon Beane says, I will not be outrun, and I'm going to have the depth to make sure I keep up with the likes of Xavier Worthies and whoever's got the speedy receivers that are back there, Tank Dells of the world. Bro, we're going to be right there with you. Now, you saw the depth that we have at corner. It's not great. I mean, I can tell you it ain't anything to write home about. Like I said, if something were to happen to Christian Benford, okay, IGB comes in. If something happens to, you know what I mean, Max Hairston, we're in the deep doo-doo. We're in the deep doo-doo. So we're not trying to be in that position where we're sitting here going, golly, what am I doing with such player? Like, I have to explain to you what we're working with. At corner, listen to me. Christian Benford, obviously you have Max Hairston. Then you have Dorian Strong. We don't know if Dorian Strong is going to return. He may not return. Something tells me we may not even see him. Take a look at excluding the rookies that we brought to the squad. We had Daryl Porter Jr., we had Corey Couch, Dorian Strong, Max Hairston, MJ Devonshire Jr. Do you understand why Brandon Beane's like, bro, I know you guys don't like me going for these types of positions, but if you saw what I saw and you see this locker room, and we're cleaning our locker rooms out because Darnell Savage decided to bite on a weak-ass in and out, or Dane Jackson getting beat, rented like a mule. You got Kyrie Elan's have been traded 2 or 3 times now or been released. Bro, that's what we were working with. So Brandon's like, I'll be damned if we let that happen again. I'm going to make sure that we have the depth, and I'm going to make sure I'm not sitting here bargain bin shopping, trying to figure out what can I get. He's done with it. So Terrion Pride comes in as one of our last players to be drafted. And then obviously we have a tackle in Reed, and then we got a punter as well. We thought we were going to get the punter out of Syracuse, Mr. Stonehouse. And I guess that wasn't in the cards because Stonehouse ended up not being the player that we were going to choose. And here we are. So, folks, those were our draft picks. What did you grade Brandon Beane's performance? Knowing what you know now, what do you see and what would you grade Brandon Beane and this draft class? I'm going to tell you right now, I sat here and wondered about it. I was like, okay, where can I be? He ain't no A. I see a whole lot of A's, and the Beane could have been very close to A. What threw me off was IGB, because you drafted this guy in the second round with your second pick. You know he's got a tendency to be a liability in terms of his penalties, but he's cleaned it up. So I assume that he did enough homework to know that's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem. So for me, my grade for this draft class was a B-. A B-. It was like I was going to put him at a C+ and say, you know what, that's a solid draft, but the B- because you came back in the later rounds and absolute cooked. Skylar Bell, then you got yourself Caleb Elam Orrs, and then you drafted Kilgore at the same, bro, back to back to back. Those are 3 players that you could see contribute to this team sooner than you think. So that's why I liked it. So I can totally understand someone saying a C+. I can totally understanding someone saying a B+. An A, I'm not sure I'm there on the A. Now, what's made me a little more accepting, right? C+ is an adequate grade. I'm at a B-. I could have easily went B+, but I think what Beane was able to do and recover, in my opinion, I call it recovery, but what he was able to do and recover in the later rounds kind of gave Bills fans a reason to kind of be excited about going into the offseason. Because I'll tell you right now, if he went and got TJ Parker, you went and got IGB, then Bowers, and then you drafted guys that we didn't know in the 7th and 6th round and all that stuff, bro, I would have been saying, are we the Jaguars? Because if you look at what the Jaguars did, shame on the Jaguars. If you look at what the San Francisco 49ers did, a lot of conversations saying that they've reached. And there's documentation to show that these 49ers reach every year. And some folks are saying, well, listen, reach or not reach, they're always successful. They're always battling it out in the NFC West. They're always in contention for the Super Bowl. But it doesn't change that their GM, John Lynch, is not drafting well. Hasn't drafted well in the last 4 years and is documented. So then it makes me kind of say, you know what? I look at the Jaguars. I look at the 49ers. I look at some of the guys that got terrible grades. I'm like, man, the Bills didn't do so bad. I've seen guys give the Bills an A+ in this draft because what we've done here is we've built on the depth that we so desperately need. We really do. Because if you look at what we have at corner, it ain't good. If you look at what we have at the receiver position, if DJ Moore goes down or whomever, you're back to square one. So you had to get Skylar Bell. You had to get a DJ Moore. You had to do those things, right? There's going to be great competition at that left guard position. I'm excited for that. Defensive end, TJ Parker. You got Javon Solomon. You've got Bradley Chubb, Greg Rousseau, Michael Hoyt. We've got depth there. We've got depth. Now, could one of these players go down like this? Cool. This is where TJ Parker comes in, right? The linebacker room. Shaq Thompson could still be added later on. But right now, Caleb Elam-Orrs. If you've seen the free agent list as of right now, there's still some great players that are still left in free agency right now. If you saw the list, you'd be like, golly, man, if it was 5 years ago, that's a hell of a list. Let me share let me share this with you guys so you guys have an idea. So amongst the NFL, this was updated yesterday. Among the NFL free agents still available, Deebo Samuels, Juan Jennings had a visit today. I don't know who he visited. I saw something to the nature he was visiting with a team today. Tyreek Hill. Someone's going to kind of wait on Tyreek to see what takes place. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on Tyreek. Not one bit. I wouldn't mind one bit, right? Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is 33 years of age. That dude had 100 receptions last year. Hold on, let me double check. I think he had 100 receptions last year. This guy Keenan Allen had a baller year. But he's a year older. And somebody might not be ready to take a chance on Mr. Keenan Allen. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, I'm a big fan of Keenan Allen. And the fact that he's still out there available, you feel for the brother. But it is what it is at this point. I have to make sure I see what his stats were last year because his stats were unbelievable. His stats were unbelievable last year. Where am I at? I'm kind of scrolling through to figure out where I'm at. Anyway, so while I try to figure that part out, that's a big list of free agents. Take a look at that. DJ Reader, that's an interesting one right there. If you still want a little bit of beef in the middle of that line, DJ Reader at 33 could be someone that you want to look at. Talon Decker, David Njoku still available. Bobby Okereke still available. Bobby Wagner, probably a future Hall of Famer. Matt Milano, could he return to the Bills? Joey Bosa still out there. Von Miller is talking about, hey, man, I would love to come back to Buffalo. If they want to bring me back, I would love to come back. Cameron Jordan still available. Hassan Reddick, L'Jarius Sneed. At one point, L'Jarius Sneed was one of the best corners in the game. Available. Bro. So, listen, there's still some meat on the bone in free agency if we really wanted to go out there and try to finagle something, but it ain't so bad. It ain't so bad out there. So the Bills, kudos to the Bills for what they've been able to do. I'm a fan of it, and we got to keep it rolling. So I ask you this. I graded this Bills draft class a B-. Where are you guys at? I've seen a lot of guys talk about A's. I see some C's, a lot of C's in there. I love what I'm seeing, to be honest with you. I love what I'm seeing. My man Walter says, Keenan Allen leads the Chargers in receptions and targets and only had 12 yards less than McConkey. Yeah, I take him as a depth receiver. So I'm telling you, so would I. Dude, Keenan Allen just knows. He just knows how to get open. He's one of those guys that has mastered the route running ability, doesn't have to work as hard. He just knows how to use his leverage, knows how to use your momentum, and knows how to get open. Josh would absolutely love him. So you bring him onto the squad, now you got to bump somebody out. who would that be? And are you ready to give a 33-year-old an opportunity? And sometimes age ain't nothing but a number, man. If you're still rolling at 33, you can still get open and still do what you do. Shoot, bring them on down. But it sucks because you can't get a job right now, but you had over, let me just look. I need to actually find his stats because I need to see it. Because I know he had a pretty damn good year with the Chargers last year. I'm just going to go to the NFL. Let me go to the NFL. He had a damn good year last year, so I gotta give him his props, man. I absolutely gotta give him his props. JSN had a hell of a year as well. So the most targeted receiver last year, ladies and gentlemen, was Jamar Chase. Holy crap. Jamar Chase had 185 targets. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 172 targets. Puka Nacua, 166. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 163. Chris Olave, for crying out loud, had 156. Christian McCaffrey, the running back, had 129 targeted passes. Keenan Allen, 122 targets, had 81 receptions, had 777 yards receiving, had 122 targets. Unfreaking believable. And Keenan Allen is, at the moment, trying to catch how old my brother is. Oh, they don't want to say how old he is. I know he's in his 30s. I know he's like, 31, 32. Ain't that something? Ladies and gentlemen, born in 1992. Do the math. So, folks, here I am. You guys let me know. Which one was your favorite draft pick? Who stands out as your favorite draft pick? Who will have the most impact this year? Who's the biggest bust? Who's the one that's like, bro, I don't care what y'all talking about. This player ain't it. He ain't it. He ain't going to be that player. I just can't see it. For me, that's IGB. He's a very boomer bust player. Either he's going to be super solid and we're going to love him, or he's going to be an absolute bum. I hope we love him. Skylar Bell, was he the biggest draft pick of this draft class? Will he get a lot of play? Is TJ Parker the real deal? Is Caleb Elam Orr going to take over for Dorian Williams? Does he take over? How often are we going to see him on the field? Does Greg Rousseau all of a sudden lose reps to TJ Parker? That would be disaster. So a lot of questions surrounding this team. And I'll tell you right now, my favorite pick, I have two favorite picks. Caleb, right? Excuse me. Skylar Bell. I said Caleb. Skylar Bell. One of my favorite picks on the team is Skylar Bell. I love the back-to-back pick of Elam Orr, but Jalen Kilgore. There's something about this Jalen Kilgore that's got me excited. And by the way, don't forget about Tommy Doman. Hey, yo. Big punter Tommy Doman. Parker could have a good year, man. 12 sacks, 50 tackles. Shoot, if he has a year like that, hand that brother Rookie of the Year. So this is why there's lots to be intrigued about. Am I letting Brandon Beane off the hook? Hell no. Definitely not. But there's lots to be excited about. By the way, we got to give a shout out to my man, Jason T. Miller. What up, Jay? Says, yo, TJ Parker paid. TJ Parker's pick. What are you trying to do me? A tongue twister? Crying out loud, man. TJ Parker's pick made sense after looking at Denver's D the past few years. They've had smaller nose tackles, heavily influenced defensive tackles, defensive ends, and outside linebackers. High blitz percentage. And this is what I'm talking about. That's why it's good to not be so up in your feelings. You can't be up in your feelings. Because you get in your feelings, you get caught up. You get caught up saying some nonsense, and all of a sudden, you look like a douchebag. So for me, I intentionally wanted to see what this thing is going to look like, and then we can assess afterwards. I'm still going through tape to see what these guys are like. I can read all the things I want from other people, but I want to see it for myself on how it looks. And right now, that Jalen Kilgore, how it looks really good. IGB is up there. I'm not sure. TJ Parker, I'm very intrigued about. I'm curious to see how he's going to pan out with this team. I was thinking Shaq Lawson. He gives me Shaq Lawson vibes the way he is, but he's lighter, strong. He looks like he's lighter and faster than what Shaq Lawson was. So I'm not going to do that to him. So I'm going to let him show us what he's got. I'm going to let him show us what he's got. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So that being said, a B- for the boys in the blue, white, and red. The Buffalo Bills have completed and concluded their draft. Now it's on to rookie minicamp. Rookie minicamp, they're going to be getting they're going to find themselves a camp arm. We're going to find out to see what it looks like with Skylar Bell, catching footballs. I want to see it all. I'm looking forward to it. This is a big year for the Bills. This is a massive year for the Bills. So Brandon Beane, your first year, drafting everybody. You and Joe Brady are in cahoots. You guys are like this. So let's see. Put something together, man. Put something together. We're looking forward to it. If Brady can come out here and look like that dude, the way that these players are loving him, and the way that their vibe has changed around the locker room and how people are talking, bro, sign me up. Sign me up. We'll see. And we're not done yet. Right? There's going to be competition. I'm sure they're going to still bring some more guys in for more competition. I can see Shaq Thompson being brought back. Maybe Trey White. I thought Trey White was for sure returning. Could he be back as a depth piece? Are they going to bring him back to compete with IGB? A lot to discover, a lot to talk about. All right? So, folks, that is my time. I appreciate you guys very much. We had just shy of 1,000 people watching us tonight, obviously off of YouTube and Twitter. Much love to you guys. And, yeah, man, this was fun. This was fun. You're definitely going to have to do it again. Before I get out of here, I got to take some questions. If there's anybody that has anything they want to touch base on, you guys let me know. Are you in on every pick? Did you give Brandon Beane some grace? Are you is he back on your good side? Because I know for the first day, people were like a little iffy. Second day, people were ready to lose their minds. They said, what is Brandon Beane up to? What is he going to do on day 3? Because what he did day 1, I was fine with. We had what we needed, but you decided to take off and not do it. Okay, fine. Day 2, what the heck? Most people were like saying, what the heck? What are you doing? And now here we are, somewhat smiling and anticipating another big season. Another season amongst us, around the corner. The Bills will be playing in their brand new stadium. So hopefully it's a new vibe. It's a new vibe brought to Buffalo. That's what we're looking forward to. My man Walter says, why are people so sure we're copying Denver's defense? That's Vance Joseph's defense, not Leonard's. That's like a team hired Joe Brady from us when we was our QB and expected Dorsey's offense. It's true. Now, will he take some things from Vance's defense? I'm sure he will, right? But he's got his own defense. He's got his own defensive style. So if you really want to see what a Jim Leonard defense will look like, go back to a few years ago when he was coaching for the Wisconsin Badgers. And that will let you know what this defense is going to look like. My man said Trey White is done. You think so? I mean, shoot, I can see him coming back. I could totally see him coming back. But those are always tough because those are the times, bro, when you still got it in you. Your heart still says you still got it. You were just on the field last year playing some good football. He was one of our better defensive players last year, believe it or not. And now you're sitting here going, golly, I'm not getting phone calls? Anybody calling for me? Shoot. It is what it is. By the way, do me a favor. Before you guys get out of here, smash that like for your boy. We're set at 900 people watching off of Twitter and on YouTube together. Much love to you guys. Smash that like. Let's get this clip to easy 200 likes, man. We got 200 likes in us. Get this thing 200 likes, and we'll go from there. So next up is rookie minicamp. I'm not sure when it starts, but it's going to be starting soon. So we're going to see a lot of our players, rookie players, showing what they got on the field. And one thing that I do love, I love when rookie minicamps happen because they get they're amongst their, you mean the younger guys and guys that are getting tryouts and so on and so forth. So they all come to these rookie camps. What I do love is when rookie camps conclude and then mini camp starts where everyone's there. I don't know. There's something about it that I love because now the rookies are juiced up. They're ready to go because they got a little bit of time on the field. And now here come the veteran guys. Now mini camp is starting to get a little chippy, and then training camp. Everyone's vying to make a move, vying to make the roster. So there's no holds barred, man. No holds barred. So that being said, we're going to find out, man. The Bills are going to show us a lot this year. We're looking forward to seeing what they bring us, man. My man, Pitcher says, yo, solid moves this year, but next year I want Howie Roseman's aggressive trade up to get a difference maker. Well, we'll have all our picks by then. So hopefully we can do it. And you saw what Beane did. Beane picked up an extra 7th. What he decides to do with that extra 7th, I have no idea. But I tell you right now, I know he loves his late round picks, and he was able to torch this year. He did a great job. So I conclude by giving the grade of a B- to these Bills. Solid draft altogether, and how greatly I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys bring to the field come September 9th when we're ready to roll. So, folks, that's my time. If you guys enjoyed this show, smash that like. If you have not followed me on social media, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I opened up my Instagram page now. I'm starting to kind of flood in some of my videos. So follow me on Instagram, Rico, the Rico Report BF. Go ahead and follow me on there. If you're not following me there, go ahead and follow me. Show some love. Show some love to our Instagram channel. Show our love to our Facebook group. Show our love to a whole lot of our social media platforms on TikTok. I'm trying to post a little bit more on TikTok. I don't know. I've never been a TikTok guy, but you know what? That's where the people are. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to get Pierre's trying to grow this channel. Zbot and I are trying to grow this channel even more so. So that means we got to venture off. We got to start hitting up all these other platforms so we can start grouping up and getting this channel nice and big. So much love. You guys have been always showing us love, and we appreciate it very much. So don't forget, go and give a big shout out to our friends at BGE, right? The Buffalo Gift Emporium. Go ahead and show some love. Williamsville, New York, and in Tonawanda. So go ahead and show them some love. And listen, man, local. Shop local. It's right there. It's cool. And those are the things that, local shop owners appreciate. They appreciate that, man. So guys like us showing love to them, and now they get an influx of people coming to their business. Why not? Why not, man? That's what we're here for. So that's my time, folks. You guys enjoy yourself. Have a great night. I got to go put the trash out, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. And until next time, it's your boy,